Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH post show. We are getting closer to Death Before Dishonor. Very much looking forward to that pay-per-view and very much looking forward to hanging out with you guys to talk about this episode. But get in your super chats here, please. We always appreciate such a thing. We also invite you to leave a thumbs up on this video. I'm so excited to be joined by SP3. SP3, how you doing today?
Well enough to be here. So I never miss a date, a booking. So that's why I'm working for the business here. But
You are
yes,
a worker. You
I'm
are
a
a worker,
worker.
bro.
I'm a worker. It
I
doesn't matter
respect
the
that.
conditions. I'm here. But yes, I'm here. I'm excited to talk about some Ring of Honor. We only got one more show before Death Before Dishonor, and my first complaint of the episode is, what's the rest of the card?
Yeah. Yeah, there is not like pretty classic of this era to not really have a card set up before going into the last week, which is a continued frustration. Fightfulselect.com, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Reported that ROH is supposed to be getting a renewed focus. I'm hoping that these stationary tapings, I'm always too optimistic about this, but hopeful that that's the case. Hopeful that this requires some planning, and that they're bringing in talent like MXM. We've seen little bits of things like champions being around a little bit more, right? Forgot Mark Brisco was, but here we go. And I just hope it for it because the talent deserves better. But there's this nasty pattern, SB3, of like right before a pay-per-view having someone from the main roster beat somebody who's been working there for their entire existence for no reason. Like we got Roddy with Dalton. And of course, Mark versus Roddy is going to be fantastic. That's going to be a wonderful match. It's going to scratch some nostalgia feels for a lot of people. It's going to be a bunch of fun to watch. And this is what happens, I feel like. All of the buzz coming out of a pay-per-view is God that tore the house down, and then they just coast off of that until the next one. I'm hoping that changes, but I was hoping we were going to get some development going into this card. We did not, but we did. The women's programs have been clear as day. The men's programs, not a clue. But
yeah, I thought they, tonight's main event, spoiler alert, it was really good. Should have been on the card for next week's show. That was my only nitpick about tonight's main event was it was good. It was so good. It should have been on the pay-per-view.
Absolutely, especially when we don't have a rest of the card, so it would be nice.
It's up to Ian and Caprice. Bravo to them. They are my LVPs for the night because they did the work that should have been done by the booking team in like mentioning, hey, you remember Lee Moriarty went to a time limit draw in a proving ground matchup with Wheeler Yuta? Yeah, he should really get a shot at the Pure Championship. Thank you, Ian and Caprice. At least that is something that I can go off of and be like, hey, maybe on Collision, maybe on the social medias, they'll announce it before next week's show, or we're going to have to wait till next Thursday for that to be confirmed 1 day prior to the pay-per-view.
Caprice and Ian always out here doing the Lord's work, but I am looking forward to the pay-per-view because the pay-per-views always tear it down. I would love to know what is going to be on that pay-per-view, but seeing a lot more of you are joined now, so we're going to kind of repeat the beginning of the show spiel a little bit. We're going to ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video. We are also going to remind you that Slammiversary, the anniversary of slams, as I like to call it, that is going down this Saturday. There was more crossover between NXT and TNA. Joel and Cresta are going to talk with you all about that on the back half of this show. So stay tuned for that. We've got a week till Death Before Dishonor. Still don't know what the plan is as far as if SB3 is going to be hosting with the co-host or if it's going to be the two of us and somebody else on SmackDown, but we will keep you posted on that next week. Please do also subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We talked a little bit about the renewed focus on ROH. There was also news about Rachel Ellering. Looks like she's going to be sticking around Ring of Honor, Rachel L. Ring of Honor, as I like to say on Twitter. So great news on that front. Hoping that we get a little bit more creative care put into this product. But plenty of more on FightfulSelect.com. If you got sick of people talking about MJF and Will Ospreay like I did, hop into that Fightful Select Discord and talk with normal people in a controlled environment. The Ask SRS channel on the Fightful Discord also incredibly, incredibly valuable. He will just find answers for you guys on everything that he can. Also, its own show on Fightful Select as well. So hang out on FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. There are still big contracts that are up for renewal on the way. So you're going to want to stay subscribed, and you're going to want to get subscribed if you want accurate information that is not taken out of context and put into a photo for clickbait. Just throwing that out there. No shade at them, a little shade at them, but subscribe if you can. If you can. But let's get into this Ring of Honor episode. Get in those super chats if there's anything you want to talk about going into this pay-per-view. If you want to suggest things for SP3 and his inevitable lists, we've got so much going on. I didn't even ask, do we have a list for tonight, SP3, or you've been under the weather,
Kate.
right?
Come on, Kate. I have been under the weather, but like I always do my homework. I always have to have something prepared, and I prepared something because, like you said, we have another instance of main roster talent coming in and beating one of our ROH faithful in Dalton Castle, apparently knocking him out as well during the matchup. But Dalton is a worker. He's back. He's like me. Even though I'm under the weather, Dalton gets knocked out the next week. He's right back on the show this week. We'll get into that. But like you said, Roderick Strong, the number one contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And yes, the commentary team do a good job of letting people know that Roderick Strong is an ROH great, one of the first Triple Crown winners in ROH history, a former TV champion, former tag team champion, former world champion. So I have the top 5 best Roderick Strong Ring of Honor matches.
Ooh, that, my friend, that is a fun category. Well, let's get into Ring of Honor. We'll get into the lists along the way, but we do open up with a Mark Briscoe promo, and my God, if this guy isn't just like one of the most likable people you've ever seen, I don't know who is. He's so sincere, and you would never look at him and be like, that guy feels like a babyface and kind of an underdog. And I at least just buy so into it. But he just calls out Roddy Strong and says that they've done this dance before, but he only had 2 kids back then. Now he has like 497 of them. So he's got a little more salt and pepper in that beard.
You see, I got a little bit of salt in this beard. You see, I got that's wisdom. That's wisdom, man. I only had 2 kids back then, man. What you talking about?
Just so easy to fall in love with that guy, truly. Like, just the absolute best. But very, very happy that he at least made some sort of effort since this is just getting thrown together. Looking forward to that match. But SP3, if you had anything to add other than your fantastic reenactment of it, really, feel free to comment.
Well, the word of the day is conglomeration, and me and Kate is the breast conglomeration here on the Fightful main channel. And I got a little salt in my beard, so that's the wisdom. I got 2 kids. I only got 2 kids, and I only gonna have 2 kids when I talk about Mark Briscoe and Roderick Strong next week at Death Before Dishonor. It may not be having much of a build, but I'm ready for it. It's gonna be a great match because you know why? Because Mark Briscoe is one of the best baby faces in the game, and that's why I got that wisdom. That's the wisdom that's telling me that he's one of the best baby faces in the game.
But man, he's gonna have to recover very quickly from blood and guts before Death Before Dishonor. Tony Khan, man, you just putting Mark Briscoe through the ringer this week or next week.
That's like the most Mark Briscoe-iest thing of all time, I feel like. Like, yeah, I'll do blood and guts and then a title match at a pay-per-view. Of course. Those are both my natural environments, right? So really, really wonderful stuff. I am looking forward to that, and I love when we have a champion around. It would be nice if that was the case more than twice every 6 months or so. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Let's hope that happens in the new ROH reboot era of the reboot era.
And I know you mentioned the Fightful report, but I really felt like the Fightful report, shout out to Sean Rossap, it was just for me and Kate. It was
It
just for me.
was.
He even did the plug of me and Kate during the
Did.
show at the end. It was just really, I felt so loved by Sean. I felt so loved. I was like, oh, more care and consistent creative for SP3 and Kate. I was like, oh, that's so nice.
It was really sweet. It was really sweet. We got a little plug in there. We got a little, it's gonna be okay. I think Sean doesn't want us to quit this show. So we
He gonna love this show when he hear my Brisco impersonation. Man, I'm rooting for my man SRS out here in these streets. Him and Effie, they gonna have a great match, and he gonna come back with a little salt and pepper in his beard. He got a beautiful beard. He be lining it up. He be getting to the Dominicans, getting that lineup. He be looking good with that beard, and they gonna get some salt and pepper after he first F in. They pin him 1, 2, 3. Yeah, baby.
he will be all the wiser no matter what the result with Effie is. But hey, we invite you to donate to the Dementia Society for America as well. He donates all of his wrestling booking money to a great cause. This one's very important to him. And we wish him all the best in there, because I think he's going to get his literal ass beat. Like, if there's anything we know about Effie, it's he's going to be literally probably kicking some ass in there. So we will see how that goes for him. But if it goes as well as SP3's Mark Briscoe impression, it'll be a good night for Sean. I'm one of 2 kids. I was always told that was enough to turn your hair gray. Like, that was just 2 is good. I don't understand how he isn't full-blown Einstein hair with as many kids as he has. But we move along to another promo. Very rare in ROH that we get back-to-back promos, one a live promo and our opening one a pre-tape, of course. But we get the MIT coming out. We've got Athena and your TV champ, Billie Starkz. Wouldn't know it by the lack of defenses that she's had as well. But they've got their security guards in tow, and Athena explains what happened with her crutches, and that she just had a spike of adrenaline, which is so consistent and a completely reasonable explanation, SP3. I mean, if you hear athletes talk, especially wrestlers, they say, like, you don't even know you're injured when that adrenaline hits. So it would make total sense to me that she forgot she was injured as she's giving this impassioned speech to MIT and security. Like, my adrenaline was through the roof because I was so inspired by what she was saying. So her extremely real injury, just like forgetting she had it, just tells me how strong and tough she is to push through these things, but also seemed like a completely reasonable explanation to me. I can only assume that you agree, SP3.
Oh, 100%. You know, you feel the adrenaline in your soul, and it just gets you going, and you don't realize that you're walking on your broken foot. And she already has a bipolar foot, like a bipolar leg, so you know she doesn't know when it's hurt or not. And at that time, it didn't feel like it hurt. And then as soon as she turned around, she twisted something, and she was on the ground. We all saw it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we need to understand that. You know, I think that certain people, you know, I see people saying we're minion biased. No, we are fair, impartial individuals talking about this television show, and we don't have enough impartiality, you know, in the game. And we are very impartial, but we understand what Athena is going through. And I'm gonna start to get emotional. Like, we shouldn't. I don't like all the bad words to say she's faking.
Caught in 4K, I was seeing going around. Like, just disrespectful. These clickbaiters taking these clips completely out of context. Like, you don't even know the full story of what happened. And so to make her come out here and explain herself is honestly disgraceful. It's a disgrace. But Billie Starkz knows what's up. She keeps emphasizing that Athena is not 100%. And before she kind of declares that she'll be the first and last TV champion, Athena says she doesn't care if the board of directors forced her to compete at Death Before Dishonor, because she would prove she was better than Queen Aminata with only 1 foot. And you know what? Queen Aminata is incredible. So it's going to be a tough test, but I have no reason not to believe my forever champ. So feels like a dominant duo here at MIT. Your thoughts on Billie Starkz and Athena's claim that she can beat Queen Aminata on 1 foot?
Well, first, I got a couple of things I have to address. You said before Billie Starkz and her lack of defenses. By saying lack of defenses, that a lot of people will assume that she's had a defense, and which she hasn't.
Like a single. She didn't have one. I thought she had one. Why did I think she had one?
No, she has not had one.
She's
She's
had
been in
zero.
a whole bunch of proving ground matches since she won the Ring of Honor Women's World Title back in April. It's been now, we're going
Like-
on 3 months, over 3 months since she won the
People
title.
will say, like, you're complaining. It's a developmental brand. Just enjoy what's in front of you. 0 defenses in an inaugural title. Like, there was a tournament to win this title. It was the first ever women's TV title. They made a huge deal out of it. 0 defenses. And those proving ground matches are always against women that are not on the roster. So they're inevitable outcomes. Great matches. Billie Starkz is killing it in this heel role. But, like, we are not asking for the sun, moon, and stars. We are asking for champions to be on the show and defend their belts on occasion. Like, just insanity. So brutal stuff
Like
there.
they did such a good job with the tournament, and there were so many women in that tournament. It's like, you don't think one of them could have gotten a shot in the last 3 months? And I think that's another issue with Ring of Honor. Like, I would love, with the more care and consistent creative that's coming, that maybe like next week at Death Before Dishonor, they announced that, hey, we're adding a pay-per-view. We're adding Glory by Honor back in September, because I think the real issue is the amount of time between these pay-per-views. That it's been 3 months since Supercard of Honor. So they think that they can just do a whole bunch of proving ground matches for 3 months because there's no pay-per-view in sight. We could just do proving ground matches. We don't have to have the champion defend, even though they specifically had Mark Brisco go on paternity leave. He came back, and his first match back was for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Like, he at least he has one defense since he won the title at Supercard of Honor. But you're telling me that you couldn't get one title defense for Billie Starkz? That's kind of outrageous. That's ridiculous
in
to me.
3 months. And that, I'm so glad you mentioned that tournament, because they also set up so many stories and they pursued one of them. And I don't know where the hell Kiera Hogan has been, but like, the one story they pursued, now neither of the women are on the show. Like, what the hell are we doing?
I don't understand it, but I will give praise to Billie Starkz, because she cut a really good heel promo, and you could tell more and more she's getting that swagger that you need to be a heel. And there was people that were kind of down on the way she did the heel turn at Supercard of Honor, but I think that she has kind of matured before our eyes in this heel role, and you saw it here, on the mic. Not a lot of women on either like WWE, AEW, and TNA have that confidence in front of a live crowd, and Billie Starkz showed that here. So I want to give her credit that she's really coming into her own as a heel act. I just want you to defend your title a little bit more. But Athena is absolutely right.
A little bit more, literally ever. Ever.
How about just once? I'll just do once. I don't even care. But Athena is absolutely right. She can be better than any woman with one leg, because, ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend, Prestige Wrestling, who are also going to get some criticism here, they made Athena wrestle on one leg. This woman came in crutches with the brace on her leg, and she still had to face one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today, Masha Slamovich. And through the grace of God and the injury lords, she got the brace, and she used it as a shield to block Masha's face from coming near her, and she accidentally hit her in the face with the brace and got the win at Prestige Wrestling. So if she can beat Masha Slamovich on one leg, she could beat anyone on one leg. That's how much I like Masha Slamovich. That's how good Masha Slamovich is.
She's incredible.
Athena shows that she is one of the best in the world on even one leg. So Queen Aminata. And she's the queen to me. I'm a big Queen Aminata fan, and we're going to talk about our match later on in the show. I would warn yourself: block your face, bring a shield of your own, because you're in trouble facing one-legged Athena.
Adrenaline in my leg. took Masha Slamovich down a peg. That's all I'll say about that.
Bars.
Whoa! Me Normus with the chat saying, tell the truth, Minion 690069. That's what we do around here. That is what we do around here. Shea Monster, thank you for the chat saying, TMD Kate, RSVP3, we'll find something. I like VP in there because
Yeah, that's nice.
you're the MVP in there. But here's to being fashionable, fitnessable, and philanthropy. Philanthropistable. Yuta and Lee getting no build, boo. Let's talk about that real quick because there's no place to talk about it in the review of this episode because they were not on the episode. So, our pure title has been MIA. Wheeler Yuta gets cleared. He is still not around with this pure title. There is such an inconsistency in all of AEW and ROH with what happens when someone gets injured with titles. No free burning of the trios titles, but sometimes you can. Like, it's just such a mess. I'm kind of glad they stopped doing interim titles. I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was cool when Mox beat Punk for his because it said that an interim champion can just be your permanent champion. It wasn't a placeholder. Yeah. So I thought when they established that was actually something that was pretty cool. But like, man, Shibata was out for less time than this and he had to give up the title to Wheeler Yuta. Like, this is so inconsistent. It's a continued pain point for me. I'm very much looking forward to Wheeler and Lee. I just don't understand why we haven't had a build to Wheeler and Lee outside of social media and their own work. What on earth are we doing with this pure title and this lack of pure division? Because it's killing me, SP3.
They are killing this division like they killed the trios division in AEW. I love the pure division. I was a big fan of Nigel's run with the pure title. You know, in the pandemic, the pure tournament was the thing that got me back into watching Ring of Honor with that pure title tournament. I liked the choice. I liked the little rivalry that we got in 2022 between Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta trading off the pure championship. But him getting injured and then them just completely ignoring the fact that he was injured. They just pretty much didn't even mention him for weeks at end. And then it's not like he's like on AEW and doing stuff. Like with Kyle Fletcher's been able to do, when he was Ring of Honor TV champion, he was able to do Proving Ground matches and still show up on AEW television. Wheeler Yuta, I don't remember the last time I think I saw him in Claudio's Corner for that Global Glory last week.
Oh my God, that's right.
But it's not like he's been having matches upon matches. Like, he's not doing much on AEW. So why can't he show up on Ring of Honor to at least cut a promo? Why can't we get him to cut a promo?
Not even a pre-tape promo on AEW. This makes absolutely no sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And they are just slowly but surely kind of just weeding out the pure division, it seems, by just not paying attention to it. And we literally got someone from Shane Taylor Promotions on this show, which was arguably one of the best parts of this show was Shane Taylor's promo. But I was like, when I listened to it, I was like, this is a really good promo, but it's doing nothing for Death Before Dishonor. And he literally has someone in his team that proved his ground against a pure champion, and we can't hear from him. We can't hear from Lee. We haven't heard from Lee since he proved his ground on July 4th against Wheeler Yuta. Like, we can't get any type of follow-up. We haven't got follow-up in 2 weeks now. What are we doing? And don't get me started on the ROH 6-man and Unified Trios Championships, because Christopher Daniels somehow, in a business that has Adam Pearce embarrassing what is an authority figure over on Monday Night Raw with his ill treatment of Drew McIntyre, somehow, some way, Christopher Daniels, the fallen angel, the leader of SCU, the leader of the prophecy, one half of the addiction, he's out here being the worst authority figure in the game, and all he is a Tony Khan avatar, so it's just Tony Khan making bad decisions through Christopher Daniels. What are we freaking doing?
If you don't send in super chats for that rant, you just don't appreciate SP3 or me. I'm just going to say it. If that rant where SP3 didn't breathe for 17 minutes didn't do anything for you to send in support. We don't care about you either. No, I'm just kidding. My goodness, no lies, not a single lie. Folks, where's the lie? There isn't one, okay? There's just not one in anything you said. I am very concerned about kayfabe wrestling HR departments. Like, Bo Dallas is just allowed to murder people apparently, but Drew McIntyre gets an extended detention for being mean to a referee. Here, we feeling dreepy with a high level compliment as far as a rant scale goes. That was an Alex Pulowski level rant. That's impressive because Alex usually rants for 2 hours at a time. So that's a pretty good clip they are coming in with there. Christopher Daniels doing nothing about this 6-man situation. We're going to talk about the 6-man match, but let's actually talk about that Shane Taylor promo since you brought it up, because it was excellent. He says that he and his family were struck by Hurricane Beryl last week, and that they didn't get a single call from AEW or ROH. He said that they don't value him, and he would take what they value most. Taylor calling out Mark Briscoe and stating Mark Briscoe has been ducking him for too long. And man, sign me up for Shane Taylor versus Mark Briscoe if Shane Taylor is going over. This guy is too valuable to not be featuring in a way that isn't his stable just losing. And Mark Briscoe is not around. Strap up Shane Taylor. I'm going to be complaining a lot less. Love this promo. Very much reminded me, was it Gabe Kidd last year at the G1 who said, I can't remember if it was him or Coughlin. I think it was Gabe Kidd who was talking about he just wanted to send a shirt to his parents that doesn't ask for a lot, and that the company said you can't send a shirt for free, but here's like a discount code. I loved it.
Yeah,
it was Coughlin. Okay. Gabe Kidd, is just a little bit more of a maniac than that. He would just be like, I hate you. F everybody here. I'm going to beat everybody up. So I think it was Coughlin. You're right. Kind of, it hit me the same way as that, of just like the company not being sensitive to personal issues is such a great way to like rally against the machine without raging against the machine. Like, it's not anger. It's like pain. It's hurt. And I love promos like that. I find them so affecting. But if you're going to do Shane Taylor versus Mark Briscoe, you have to have Shane Taylor win, I think. Like, that is just the way you have to go. And Mark Briscoe is just so heavily featured on AEW that I think it's time for him to not have this title. I'm disappointed in the reign for sure. He beat Eddie Kingston to do basically nothing. But what are your thoughts on that potential matchup? And how did you feel about this promo? I just love when he does stuff like this.
Yeah, I love this promo because you could see the emotion in his face, even though he had his brim low over his eyes. He was like sweating, but it looked like tears that was coming down his face.
Good.
Like, he was so emotional in it, and it really made, to me, honestly, I think maybe this is a bad thing to some people, but it kind of made Tony Khan and ROH and AEW the heels to me. I was like, yeah, I feel bad. Why did nobody call him?
Nobody checked in on this dude?
No one checked in on him. Like, what are you doing? But it made me very sympathetic to Shane Taylor and made me fear for Mark Briscoe that he's gonna have all the fury, all the pain and suffering that Shane felt having his family be all alone, and his daughter telling him that she's afraid of the dark, and he told her not to be afraid. I love that type of stuff. That's the type of real element that is somewhat missing in professional wrestling, and Shane Taylor is great at it. This was one of his better promos since coming into the Tony Khan era of Ring of Honor.
I really did love also that, because it is like against the company, but he also says not a single person in the company, right? So that also is like not a single one of like the people in this promotion gave a shit either. Like, for somebody with Shane Taylor's presence and ring style, like him just having a reason to hate everybody, I think is a really good way for him to go about doing business. So totally with you. Absolutely loved this. Let's talk about Dalton Castle, shall we? Basically, very, very similar to Shane Taylor, I feel like, is Dalton Castle. What a
Imagine
wonderful
that.
world. What a wonderful world we get to live in as wrestling viewers, where we get Shane Taylor and Dalton Castle, who is more than apoplectic. Dalton Castle is like focused with anger. Dalton Castle, like as far as the like my godness of it all, he's just like can't really look Lexi Nair in the face after everything that he's been through. And I adore what we get from the Outrunners in this whole sequence of events, this promo and the match that we go into. They are like a shy girl with a crush wrapped in an 80s wrestler's body with muscles. Like they're like, well, I don't know. I was just like thinking, like, maybe we could be your partners. Like in the most vulnerable, sweet way. Like you're asking someone to the Sadie Hawkins dance. Absolutely killed me. Like I just loved well, we just thought because like you might need people to help out with this. Absolutely killed me.
I love Dalton being the head cheerleader and being like, "Oh, then nice to meet you guys." Oh, we kind of already met.
So much, like so many times. But then the Outrunners start flexing to impress Dalton Castle enough, who's like inspecting their muscles as they're flexing. And I love that we went from this segment right into the match. But Dalton Castle just like being like, good enough. Absolutely floored me. This is a fantastic combination. We need like them versus MXM in a third. Like what a delicious world that we live in. But your thoughts on the promo before we talk about this match?
Oh, my favorite part of the promo was when I think it was the Truth Magnum was talking to him, and what's the other guy's name? Truth Magnum and
Turbo Floyd.
Turbo Floyd had his sunglasses on, and he has his sunglasses. I can't see his eyes. I don't trust him.
So good. So good.
That was my favorite part. My favorite part of the promo. But Dalton
Phenomenal.
he's so good playing off of anyone. It doesn't matter if it's just Lexi. It doesn't matter if it's another wrestler there. He's just so good. His personality, his charisma just jump out at the screen. Give me more Dalton Castle backstage promos.
Yes, please. I absolutely adored it. I am so with you. And the match it was weird. I couldn't really get into this match. And I love Dalton Castle and the Outrunners, and I love Lance Archer and the Righteous. I have been screaming for them to get a proper trios push and for the Righteous just to include Lance Archer. Have them be a proper trio, and if Lance Archer needs to do some singles matches, he can do some singles matches out of the trio. But I love this combination of these three guys. There was just something, I don't know if it was the crowd or whatever, but it just seemed kind of sluggish. It never got into the gear I was kind of hoping it would. But there was still some really good work done in it, and we get a blackout from Archer onto Magnum in this. I don't know why. It was just sometimes that just happens. Like sometimes matches just don't click in. There was nothing bad about it, but there was nothing that felt like respective to how much I love everybody in this match. Like my expectations were very high. It didn't quite get there for me. But I feel like the right team probably won because they're a little bit more proper of a trio than the silly ones on the other side. But I love everybody in it. Commentary did a really good job giving credit to that amateur background of Dalton Castle as well. It just didn't click in for me. Was I missing something, or did you feel the same way? It just was like a little bit slow, I feel like.
I feel like it was just a good match, but not at the right time. And sure. I think that's why it just felt off, because I was like thinking, okay, you just kind of officially paired up Outrunners and Dalton Castle. And then I see their opponents are Lance Archer and the Righteous. I was like, I would love to believe that this could go either way, but I think Lance Archer and the Righteous are going to win this one, unfortunately, for Dalton and the Outrunners. Like you said, yeah, it felt a little sluggish. It just felt like they didn't shift it into like a second gear. It was just that one gear, and it was just there for the rest of the matchup, and they couldn't pick it up. The crowd wasn't into it as well. There was a couple of different factors that just made this not connect too well. And I think most of all, for me personally, I just felt like it was like not the right time to do this matchup. Like, you could do this match after Dalton and the Outrunners get a win under their belts. This is an instance that I would have loved if they just did their entrance and then they were facing, insert local talent name here. Like that kind of seemed like you just did the promo with them. You just showed their history together with the Outrunners posing as Boyds a couple of weeks ago, them being in Dalton's corner on Collision. And then this right here should have been them getting a quick victory to establish them as a trio. And then maybe next week we do Lance Archer and the Righteous versus Dalton and the Outrunners. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, maybe? That would be nice. You could have got another matchup here. Or it could have been the Outrunners versus the Righteous, and the Righteous can still get the victory here because the Righteous are not focused on the trios titles after the matchup. They're talking about the tag team title, so why not do the Outrunners versus the Righteous if you really wanted to do this matchup? There's a couple of different ways this could have gone.
Implying that this was hampered by the fact that there was no story and the 6-man titles have not been around since they were combined. Like that perhaps a wrestling match could be enhanced if they had any reason to be fighting each other whatsoever.
Yep. And this
how could you say something so brave yet so controversial as the old
this reminds me once again that the ROH 6-man titles are unified with the AEW World Trios Championships. So anyone who wants to defend that fraud of an authority figure, Christopher Daniels, who's saying, "Oh, it's an AEW title. That's why he won't allow a replacement like he did for the Ring of Honor tag team titles for 3 freaking months last year." MJF was the Ring of Honor champion, his Ring of Honor tag team champion on his own because Adam Cole decided to jump off a ramp and he was able to get substitutes. He was able to defend it in a handicap match, but yet the Bang Bang Gang, what are we discriminating against the Bang Bang Gang for? We can't get Juice to be a free bird? He looks like he could be a free bird.
He does look like he could be a free bird.
The Bad Street
100% he would.
He should be the 4 quarters of the trio championships. That would have been perfect. Him be the replacement. But no, we got to strip them of the titles and we got to wait really, really long before we make new champions. No, actually, we're just going to name them on Saturday. What? What are we doing?
Absolutely. As I like to say, truly, madly, deeply, like, what the fuck? So, me nor mistake. Put all the belts on Dalton Castle, and where are the boys? Well, they got released, but damn that Johnny TV. That said, the Outrunners are a national treasure. Them, like, being the boys on the way to this, I thought was a cute little wrinkle. There's just, like, the sheepishness with them and Dalton, and I adore how, like, just adorable these muscle-bound dudes are. This was really, really fun from them. Like, I've liked the Outrunners for a while and like what they normally do, but this was a little bit different from them, and it still really, really hit. I really enjoyed this. But the other thing that I really enjoy is SP3's list. So I'm going to ask for number 5 and 4 of your top 5 Roddy Strong matches in ROH history.
That's perfect because I could talk about both of these very quickly. Number 5 for me is Roderick Strong defending the Ring of Honor World Championship back in 2010 against Davey Richards. ROH Final Battle 2010, a great matchup, great Ring of Honor World Championship matchup. Not a lot of people remember this one because a lot of people remember ROH Final Battle 2010 for one of two things: the classic blow-off fight without honor between El Generico and Kevin Steen, or Papa Brisco teaming up with the Briscoes, the first Kings of Wrestling, and Shane Haggerty. But that's how I remember Ring of Honor Final Battle 2010. But the other great matchup on this card was Roddy and Davey Richards. They had a lot of chemistry together during their time with the Nora Most Corps. And this was a great matchup here. And this was a part of the rise of Davey Richards, who would eventually win the Ring of Honor World Championship the following year in 2011. But it was Roderick Strong just winning the Ring of Honor World Championship a couple of months back against Tyler Black. And then and defending it here in the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is always my favorite place for a Ring of Honor show. Great matchup between these two. And it was very surprising at the time that Roddy would get the win, because I think a lot of people assumed he would just hold the title for a little bit and drop it to Davey. So it was great matchup here. And I would also say go out of your way to watch his eventually losing the championship back at the Hammerstein Ballroom to Eddie Edwards, because that was another great matchup. But number 4 for me is another person that he had a lot of history with. And this was when I was like really diehard into Ring of Honor. Him versus Austin Aries at ROH Undeniable in 2007. This was following their long tag team title run from 2005 to 2006. And then it was basically the faction warfare of 2007 when Roddy, Austin Aries, and Jack Evans all created their own freaking factions. No one remembers Austin Aries faction because it's not worth remembering. But everybody remembers the No Remorse Corps, because Roddy built the best stable out of the former Generation Next members, but them going one-on-one. It was on pay-per-view, ROH Undeniable, the same show that our good friend Nigel McGuinness won the Ring of Honor World Championship against Takeshi Morishima. So shout outs to that. But Roddy and Austin Aries always had great chemistry together, whether tag team partners, whether opponents. So I had to make that on the list here at number 4.
A beautiful, beautiful dueling choices there. And I don't know if Nigel is your friend, but he is mine. So
yeah, he thinks I'm a clam digger and I don't have taste.
You claimed to be one, so I have no remorse for you, my friend. But
I see what
you want to call
there.
him our friend? You want to go around big time at everyone and pretending? That's like the not even a top 100 Cardi thing that happened just today. So have at it. But let's talk about this MXM vignette. My gosh, these guys are full of fashion, fitness, and philanthropy is what we learned today, which is something that I figured. They go through just like a series of traits, talk about like looks, charisma, whatever, and say that's what it takes to make these perfect little boys, which made me almost fall off my chair, especially because Mason is like 6'6" or something. Like, he's a big dude. I'm loving these. I'm loving the Zoolander-esque thing. What did you think of this? And most importantly, who do you think they do philanthropy for? I think they raise money for dogs to get liposuction. I would also guess other important causes like champagne for the homeless.
That's really good. Shampoo for the homeless.
Well, yeah, that's something that is
with
needed.
Mason and Mansoor, they both have great hair.
My favorite
bit of this video package, I can't because I'm on a stool, but they kept doing like this.
I was dying.
And then they would change clothes. That was my favorite part. That was my favorite part of the whole bit. This was another great. And I love the music. If that's their theme music, oh, please give it to me. Give it to me. The music here was really well done. I've been really enjoying the vignettes for MXM, but this might have been my favorite one. The 3 Fs.
Fashion, fitness, and philanthropy.
I was like, yeah, I'm into this. I'm here for the ride, and I'm very open to them facing anyone. I think they would be entertaining against any tag team, any duo. You could put a tag team together. Just give me MXM. I hope they make their debut at Death Before Dishonor.
I hope they do too. And Feeling Dreepy said, I'm so looking forward to seeing what Ruckus has made for their music. That guy is just cranking out incredible themes, incredible themes. They are so actively involved in their own creative. Like, these are their vignettes. AEW said, have at it. And they said, we'll do it. So like they're always so knowing that they're close to the creative care of their characters. I'm sure whatever their theme is going to be fantastic. Louisville saying that the 4th F is for phenomenal. That's very sweet. But good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to seeing them wrestle. Like, we had such a small sample size of what they could do as TV wrestlers in WWE that I think this is going to be really refreshing to see them in this environment. But we're going to move along here to Red Velvet defeating Maya World via pinfall. That flipping reverse DDT is fun as hell. Red Velvet just looking better and better, man. I don't know what to expect because I feel like people don't normally lose in their first defenses, but at the same time, normally it doesn't take you 3 months to have your first defense. So Maya World, I thought looked great in this. We've seen her a couple of times. She's excellent. But what did you think of the match that we got here?
I thought this was a nice little showcase for Red Velvet. I would have liked a little bit more offense from Maya World because I thought the story, that commentary kind of established with Maya World being a student of Athena. It would have worked to kind of give her a little bit more offense in this matchup. But this was really a showcase for Red Velvet ahead of her Ring of Honor Women's World television title matchup. And I think the change in finisher was a wise choice because in the mix, the Trouble in Paradise, it didn't always connect. It didn't always look good. So this looked perfect. I was like, yeah, that should be your finisher from here on out.
The Trouble in Paradise does sometimes have you saying SOS. You know what I mean? So
you hear them shouting.
The way it goes. This was, served its purpose. I think Maya World is like, I find her to just be like an attention getter every time she's in there. A little more offense would have been nice, but this served its purpose. I can't prepare you for what happens next because I did not have Shibata and Evil Uno on the bingo card, but Evil Uno.
So I was like, what are you doing here? Isn't your arm injured? Didn't you go through a learning tree accident that Jericho established yesterday on Dynamite and you're here? Okay.
I mean,
cool. and then we had an accident in the matchup. How ironic.
We did. I'm getting word live right now that Effie beat Sean. So we are now Effie Select. Effie Full. Effie's Fightful is fine. That's all I know. We are now under the rule of Effie. So congratulations to
Bussy Select.
We're Bussy Select now. We now have a dress code and it's fishnets and a pink spike jacket. So I'm looking forward to the fashion upgrade. It's a shame that Sean is probably out of like power now because I feel like he'd eat that look. Like Sean fishnets, like pink, rocking a pink spike jacket. That feels right up his alley. But congratulations to them. Congratulations to Sean for doing great work and raising some extra money for the Dementia Society of America. Go to their website. It's that.org. And make a donation if you can. We raised some good money for them on my Twitter earlier where I was shelling out compliments to anybody who screenshotted their donations. So feel free to do that as well. But we got Evil Uno coming to cut this promo to say that he had done it all in his career and the easiest way to be named one of the greats was by facing some of the best. He issues an open challenge and it's answered by Shibata. Evil Uno got injured during this, leading the match to be stopped and giving Shibata the win. So I don't know what the fuck this was. Do you have any thoughts?
I was like, for a pre-tape show, I mean, I think this should have kind of been on the cutting room floor because this is very like if this was a live show, I understand, you can't do anything, but this is a pre-tape show. And sometimes if you have like an accident, like 2-3 minutes into a matchup, probably shouldn't even make the air at that. Like maybe you should just had Shibata come out and edit it to the end where Evil Uno is like, oh, Shibata beat him up so bad. Oh, it's over. You missed it. You blinked and you missed it or something like that. I don't know, but it was nice to see Shibata here, but I think that we could have got better use out of him.
Cannot stress this enough. What the fuck? It just made absolutely no sense that this was not either edited out or whatever. It ended with a street fight. You didn't need the 3 minutes that this was to do that. Hope Evil Uno is okay. We are now F-Fightful. A lot of people say F-Fightful for absolutely no reason, but Effie Full Select is a good one.
Effie Full Select, that's awesome.
I like it. I'll take it. But we move along to the Cage of Agony, which is Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona defeating Austin Valentino, Cappuccino Jones, and Harlan Hutchinson with a triple powerbomb. They look good. Don't know what the point of the match was since we don't have contendership for the 6-man. It's just so maddening when we don't have a card and the show is in a week, SP3. Like, I never have a problem with the match quality, really. Nice to see them around again. I'm glad Cage of Agony is doing something, but they're another one where they can't decide if they're a tag team, a trio, which brand they work on. Doesn't really matter because no one's allowed to have trios titles anyway. Like, pick a struggle, man. I don't know. But a decent enough match. The opposing trio looked good. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Cage of Agony, they always look good. They always look dominant when they're here on Ring of Honor television. So this is more of the same. I don't know the point when we have a pay-per-view in 8 days. Would have been nice to set up something with the time that we got on this television show instead of just having random squash here. But hey, Cage of Agony gets the win.
Bet they do. Guys, get in your super chats. We're coming down the home stretch a little bit here. We're going to get SP3's third and second off of his list of the best Roddy Strong matches. But we will just take a quick moment to remind you that after this, you got Joel and Cresta coming on here to talk to you all about the Go Home to Slammiversary, the anniversary of Slams. Which is this weekend. Lots of crossover with the NXT brand that continued. Wes Lee made an appearance. The Hardys in tag team action for the first time in forever for those tag titles over there in TNA Impact. So stay tuned to hear all about that. We'll also remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We've done so a couple of times, but reminder to get the most scoops that you can. There's just a ton of added value that I don't know if everybody knows either outside of that Sean's Q&A show. Bonus shows from a lot of the stuff that happens on this channel that isn't post shows. Me and Alex Pulowski doing alternative reviews every Monday. We do Sour Graps, which is an alternative Raw review if you want to get sour with us, as well as pay-per-view and PLE post shows, alternatives to what's on the main channel, and just so much more. So check that out. Retro reviews, movie reviews and stuff too. There's some specialty content that pops up from time to time. But me, Norman, is asking, where is Danhausen? And why isn't he on TV being managed by Maki Ito? They use different fingers to curse, but the chemistry is great. I got an email today from shopaew.com that was like for Danhausen merch. And I was like, I get that he's a top merch seller, but like, he's not on your show. So pick one. I don't know. I miss Danhausen. I liked his presence around there. I've liked when he was in ROH because he felt like such a palate cleanser from how serious the last presentation was. Now there's a little bit more character mixed in, I feel like. But yeah, any thoughts on Danhausen? Where would you want to see him pop up?
I would love to see him in Ring of Honor, and I got the perfect feud for him. Danhausen versus Johnny TV and Taya. I feel like those two acts would work very well with one another. And he's a person that, you know, he could bring some value and bring some eyes to Ring of Honor. Like you said, he's a merch mover. So put someone like that on your developmental brand or your secondary brand, however they want to reference Ring of Honor right now. That would work for me.
That would be a great spot for Danhausen to re-enter the fold, but we will see. And we did see Queen Aminata. Oh no, we didn't do your next list. What am I doing? Let's do your 3 and 2s here.
Number 3, I went with a triple threat. See what I did? 3. 3
spot. Let's go.
Roderick Strong, Austin Aries once again, and Tyler Black from ROH The Big Bang. This was a part of Roddy's kind of hunt and chase of the Ring of Honor World Championship. After Tyler Black won the title at the end of 2009, he was feuding with both Austin Aries and Roderick Strong, and they just had a spectacular triple threat match. Like ROH The Big Bang is one that I always like, a little hidden gem ROH show that I always tell people about from the 2010s, and it also had the Briscoes versus Kings of Wrestling on that. It was all in the mix of the whole El Generico and Kevin Steen rivalry as well, but this was probably the best match on the show, Ring of Honor World Championship match. Tyler Black, you saw that he was going to be an absolute superstar superstar that he is today as Seth Rollins in WWE, and you get a lot of that in this matchup. So I had to include that on the list. And number 2 is one of like the first matches where I was like, yeah, Roderick Strong is going to be a future Ring of Honor World Champion. It's Roderick Strong versus James Gibson from ROH Unforgettable in October of 2005. And James Gibson, aka Jamie Noble, I think his Ring of Honor whole run, which is only probably like a couple of months, is probably the best work of his whole career. Character work. I love the trailer park and the trailer hitch act with Nydia. Character work, that might have been it. But overall, just the story of the kind of veteran who never was able to kind of win the big one in the bigger companies, coming to Ring of Honor and really being appreciated for the type of wrestler that he was. He had a great run with the Ring of Honor World Championship that only lasts a couple of months after he beat CM Punk for it to end the Summer of Punk. But this was probably the best matchup that he had in that Ring of Honor World title run, and that was with Roderick Strong, and it was a young Roderick Strong, and it really proved to me that Roddy was going to be one of the guys you built this company around. They just had great chemistry with one another, and it's just a really excellent matchup for you to go out of your way to see.
Very nice pick. And I remember, I think it was that match where I was like, wow, this guy really likes to beat the ever-living dog crap out of people, huh?
Yes. Chops galore.
And I was right. Speaking of chops, I tune into that XM stream whenever I can, and Dijak said the worst chops he ever took was from Mark Brisco. I thought that was so interesting. That guy is a tall, big dude, and he said Mark Briscoe's was the worst he ever took. But maybe we'll get that again someday.
Big hands. He has to have big hands.
He's got those claws. You would know since you're a professional impersonator of the guy. So,
well, you know he got them big hands, and that's why he be having so many kids. When you got them paws, you got big feet. That's why you gotta be having me and wifey Briscoe be having all these type of kids because she like my big old hands all over her.
There you go. Big, you know what they say, big chops, big. Queen Aminata defeats Mackenzie Morgan with the air raid crash. No surprise the way that this one was going to go. It feels like the women's side of the card is booked for this pay-per-view, and it feels like the men's side of the card is very much not. This is so weird, but decent enough match. This was much like the Red Velvet one, Queen Aminata showcase, which was great. She has so much presence in there. She looks like a megastar. She monster popping at my extremely appropriate joke. Look, if MXM can come in here and say, we think you should be beautiful inside and out, we want to get inside you, I'm allowed to say big chops, big whatever. All right?
Yes, I agree.
But what do you think of our match between Queen Aminata and Miss Mackenzie here?
Another showcase matchup, and Queen Aminata, man, she just got that star presence. She's right up there with the Britt Bakers of the world as far as women's wrestlers who know where the camera is at every single time.
Sure.
Like, she just looks into the camera, breaking that fourth wall, that big smile on her face, and you can see her growing confidence. That's why I love most about the Ring of Honor women's division, is that we're seeing these performers grow and grow. I said it earlier with Billie Starkz as a heel, and we're seeing it a lot more with Queen Aminata. And if you go back to January, what was it? Queen Aminata and Mariah May on the episode of Dynamite, and everybody was like, oh, why is that the matchup on the first episode of Dynamite of the year? And now look at 6 months later, where both women are at. Like, both women,
yes.
One may be on the top of Ring of Honor and the other may be on the top of AEW. They've grown. They are the kind of the stalwarts of the young talent from the women's division that have grown throughout 2024 so far.
Very, very keen observation there from USP3 as usual. So we are headed into our main event. If you guys have any final super chats that you want to get in about ROH as we move toward Death Before Dishonor, now is a good time to do it because we will be passing this off to Joel and Cresta in a few minutes. But main event time means we're ready for number 1 on the list from SP3 of Roderick Strong matches. Your favorites or the best Roddy Strong match of all time in ROH.
It is the best. I do have an honorable mention because I had to shout out Roderick Strong's rivalry with Eric Stevens for the ROH Respect is Earned 2008. They had a great matchup that just missed out on my list. But I really all the other matches 2 through 5 through the honorable mention, I kind of had to remember different stuff because number 1 was always a lock. And I'm sorry, Nigel. It's once again a Bryan Danielson match. Roderick Strong versus Bryan Danielson from Super Card of Honor 2006. And it's very appropriate. You see, I got so many themes coming together in this list here because this was another 50-plus minute matchup after the Instant Classic or very overrated, depending on how you feel on social media, MJF versus Will Ospreay last night on AEW Dynamite. To me, I think it's a top 3 Dynamite matchup because those two guys just did not have the pace of a 60-minute matchup.
No, they did not.
It was great to see every step of the way for me personally, but I love a matchup that doesn't seem like it's going to go 60 minutes, but little by little, you're like, oh, are they about to go Broadway? Are they about to go Broadway? And Bryan Danielson was a master of that, and this was one of the first instances that I remember him doing it. Yeah, still to me, the best 2 Dynamite matches of all time is Omega versus Danielson and Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page. 2 time limit draws, one 30 minutes, one 60 minutes. And this one, I think it went 57, 56 minutes in Chicago during WrestleMania weekend, Super Card of Honor, Bryan defending the championship against Roderick Strong, and another instance, like you said, with the Gibson match, where Roderick Strong beat the ever-loving hell out of Bryan Danielson. This white pale man had his chest the same color as his maroon tights.
Gear, yeah.
Yes, it's just like he just crackles. It was just crackles throughout that building in Chicago. I think the Frontier House is when they did those shows. It was just a brutal match to watch. Bryan surviving in the latter moments to pick up the win and retain the Ring of Honor World Championship. And Super Card of Honor 2006 is mostly remembered for the Dragon Gate 6-man tag that has become a stalwart of every kind of WrestleMania weekend from there on out. And I think this is one of the first instances that ROH did a WrestleMania weekend show, which has become the tradition ever since that show. And a lot of part of that is the main event of Super Card of Honor 2006 with Roderick Strong and Bryan Danielson. So as of now, we don't know what's going to happen in 8 days at Death Before Dishonor, but as of now, the best Roderick Strong Ring of Honor matchup of all time.
Danielson and Broadway's is always something special, and you're right. Kind of started here of this match with Roddy. The Hangman one's incredible. The one with MJF on pay-per-view is incredible. He always just tells such a different story. But what's so impressive against the one in Roddy was, to your point, they beat the hell out of each other for a real long time. Like, it was so physical. There was not like a lot of breathing room for how long that match went on. But we're going to talk about this main event. Speaking of beating the hell out of each other, Patrick Moore says Diamante is what I think my anger personified would look like. What a wonderful way to phrase that. Even with a wonky ending, loved the match. This was a blast. It felt like a main event. I loved seeing Layla Hirsch in kind of a different context outside of her wheelhouse, but this does end with the avalanche code through the red, or an avalanche code red through the table. I almost said through the red table. The table was not red. The table was a normal color, but but this match had a lot to it, SP3. This was a lot of fun. Diamante just looks so at home in this environment. This was a lights out match. I don't think they really keep track of records anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But whatever, we turned out the lights for a minute, allegedly. This was a lot of fun. We saw the kendo stick in this, a lot of nearby table spots. We get that moonsault on Diamante through the table. This was a lot of fun. It was a little messy, but for matches like this, I like messy. I like beating the hell out of each other. I like looking like you're trying to win the match rather than pretty move execution. That's coming from a tech or sicko over here. But like when it's one of these, when it's a lights out match, when you're making me try to feel like it's personal, it should get a little ugly. I loved that. What did you think of our main event tonight?
Really damn good matchup. I thought it was probably one of my favorite Layla Hirsch matches since she's come to Ring of Honor. It just felt like they had some animosity with one another. They felt like a grudge match. Her busting out that moonsault off the top through the table was a really good spot. Like you said, it was a little bit kind of clunky with the finish. Like they were trying to get their footing right, trying to get everything right. She kind of slipped on the transition of the German suplex, which that would have been great to do through the table as well, because I love when Layla Hirsch is able to pull that off. But Diamante getting the win makes a whole lot of sense with the story that they told, with Layla Hirsch getting win after win over her. She's tried to get the victory over Layla Hirsch and been unable to time after time, especially in her Ring of Honor run. So her finally having to bust out a avalanche code red through the table, it felt appropriate that was the end of the matchup. It felt like the biggest spot of the matchup outside of the moonsault. So that's where you get it. You finish the match at the peak. All they needed was a little bit better of a crowd, but other than that, I think this was a really quality matchup that I was like, why wasn't this on the pay-per-view? Would have been nice.
Something with the big blow off on the pay-per-view would be nice. But Shea Monster calling it out in the chat too, of her just being in her regular gear and rolling over onto the tacks. No wonder it got a little clunky after that. That shit hurts, man. That's brutal. So some good stuff to close out the night. Does feel like it should be on the pay-per-view because we don't really have a rest of the card. We know what's going on the women's side. We know what's going on in our world title picture. There's still like an entire rest of the card there. We're probably getting Lee and Wheeler, but like,
and we could pretty much like figure out, like, you're getting Lee and Yuta. We're probably going to get Atlantis Jr. versus Kyle Fletcher in a rematch. Like, why can't you just announce these things? Like,
just announce it. A
announce
pre-tape
it.
promo wouldn't kill you. Like the multi-man pictures drive me nuts because MXM has done their vignettes, right? Like these things all make sense and are all lining up, but like it's the only pay-per-view between now and Death Before Dishonor is in fact Slammiversary. So on that note, we should probably hand it over to our cohorts. Joel Pearl and the lovely Cresta will bring you both on here. Cresta making very naughty jokes on Twitter that cracked me up today about Jericho's theme, but my God, what a legend.
I have the maturity of a 12-year-old sometimes.
I mean, this is a wrestling podcast. You're supposed to in these here parts, but we had a go home for them. We'll have a go home for us next week. How was the go home to Slammiversary for you guys?
I had a great time.
Were you sports entertained?
I was sports entertained.
Okay.
Yes, I was very sports entertained. Joel, how about you?
Sean Ross Sapp versus Effie was a great match tonight on GCW. Yeah.
Was it? It went well? That makes me happy to hear.
Well, it went well. It's fun. Go check it out. They had some good times.
I love how Joel, every week he no-souls Cresta's enthusiasm about the show.
He really does. Cresta's like, I had a great time with it.
Headphones. I'm sorry. Every time y'all catch me.
And Joel was like, it was a 4 at best. That's what I think. But
Joel's just jaded by wrestling at this point. Joel's like, I like wrestling, but at the same time, dum.
I'm going to Montreal in the morning, so I can't hate it that much.
You're a hater. I think
that's crazy.
That is established. Do you think Sean and Effie are going to run it back on Slammiversary?
Yes, I do.
I love that.
I think it's the interpromotional match everybody needs. I think they're not going to give us No Quarter Catch Crew versus Rascals, and instead, Sean's going to come to Montreal.
I love that.
Yeah,
I hope he speaks French.
He doesn't, but I'll be in his corner just to give him a hand, just in case.
You speak French, Joel?
Oui, je parle français. It was really fun to listen to Speedball Mike Bailey give his entire presser in French today. And then PCO comes out and he does his in French and like completely normal. And PCO normal is much scarier than PCO monster.
Yeah, no, that's wrong.
It was very strange. The man can't string a sentence together in English on television to save his life. Give him some French, Shakespeare.
Jacques, you do. That's all I got.
That is xenophobic.
Oh, you know what that's saying.
Oh, damn.
I'm out of here.
I've been canceled before.
Yeah, we're out of here. Good. Thank you. Have fun, guys.
Bye.
Have fun.
That'll be the second Fightful show I got canceled on this week.
Really? You did shit on Grapsody, didn't you?
Sure. Well, somebody thought we were talking about someone personally, and Reg had to be like, "Hey, Do we say this person's shoot name? Knock it off. You're being weird.
No, you got to stop doing that then.
Being weird, I don't know how.
I know. It's a problem for y'all.
Honestly, just pack me up. Send me. Listen, I take that back. No matter how weird I am, I'll never be weirder than Hulk Hogan tonight. I tell you that.
So I just want to just proving my point here. TNA posts an exclusive. Steph DeLander and PCO try to make their relationship work on FaceTime, and it's literally PCO just doing the grunt thing, which I believe is something that we may have pitched on one of our shows at one point.
Like at that point, he needs to do the FaceTime from the cough and just.
It was so. Oh my god, I can't.
I live. That is one thing I will say about TNA that I always find very enjoyable. That if I need some wacky, out there, funny, fun, haha, I know TNA is gonna give it to me every time. Where I'm like, yo, what's wrong with y'all?
Insanity.
It's good. I love it. I live.
You live for it.
I do. At first I didn't, but now I'm alive. I was dead. I had to be resurrected in the lake of reincarnation and come out like PCO or something. I don't know.
Something else. Anyway, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. And wow, I have my packing list is still up here. Okay. Along with my review notes. So you know it's going to be a good show. I wanted it to. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it is July 18th, 2024. A wonderful Thursday for y'all. I'm Actual Pearl, and of course, it is time for your TNA Impact post show. We are home, baby. We're going to Slammiversary this Saturday night. Gonna have a post show here on youtube.com/Fightful. Myself, Cresta Star, and of course it's a pay-per-view, so the one and only Steven Jensen will be joining us as well. I will be at the show in Montreal. I am looking forward to it. I'm hoping that I will be able to join from the get-go of the post show. I will let everyone know how that goes. But regardless, we're here to talk about the go home to TNA Slammiversary with tonight's TNA Impact. And of course, Cresta Star is here. How you doing, Cresta?
I'm doing well. I had a good time tonight with the show. I was really impressed overall. A lot of cluster hex and quite a few DQs tonight. Something TNA doesn't normally get into, but I lived. I genuinely enjoyed it. And you know I'm a first class hater, but I even enjoyed them coming out tonight because it made sense.
Got some feelings on that. I like AJ Francis. Don't know why that happens. Anyway, you know why you're here and why this happened. So go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video, of course. If you're listening to us in audio after the fact, go ahead, leave a 5-star review. That gets us into your friends' ears and the wrestling fans of your life listening to our good old content. It's new content, but it's like good old, old, new. Anyway, listen to us here on Fightful and, of course, on all audio platforms. Leave us a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air, or you can go to humperchats.com. Cresta, tell them about it and the things.
You go to humperchats.com, you take your fingers, you take your thumbs, you go to humperchats.com, you put your dollar amount in there, we get to keep a little bit more, you put your comment amount in there, we get to read it on air. You're like, hey Cresta, hey Joe Pro, why are you guys such haters? We'll read it, we'll get to keep a little bit of the money, and all of the money's going to Sean Ross Sapp recovering from Effie beating him up. Humperchats.com.
Well, we opened the show tonight with discussion of Sean Ross Sapp getting beat up by Athena tonight at GCW. Believe me.
That's awesome, though. I didn't see it, so I'm taking your word for it.
It was listen, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, very, very proud of Sean. He puts his reputation, his neck out on the line. He does this because he wants to entertain, he wants to be entertaining, and he wants to raise money for various charities and various causes. So again, one of the reasons why I love doing work at Fightful is because I know that the people I work with are doing good things for the interest and for the fun of entertainment. So Sean and Effie put on a very fun match tonight. It was a plunder match. It was good stuff. Go watch it if you have the time and you have the ability to watch GCW. Go watch the match. It's not long. It's long enough to not overstay its welcome. But again, I just want to put it out there. Very proud of Sean. Very happy to call him a friend. Very happy to call him a boss. So go check it out. Good match. He deserved everything he got in that match.
I had said on Twitter, of all the times in my life I wanted to see one of my bosses like get beat up, why is it the one boss I like? That's crazy. That's crazy.
You ever have a boss go through a door?
Yikes. He's going to feel that in the morning.
You about to see it. Go check out that match. It's so good. TNA tonight was pretty good. There was a lot of really good stuff on the show. There was some stuff that I always take issue with when it comes to TNA having a pre-taped show. I know not every show can be live, but I wish they would get a little bit more clever with how they splice things in. The stuff with NXT has worked well. They did the Treehouse segment with the Rascals. I almost called them the Renegades for some reason. With the Rascals, they did the Treehouse segment. We'll talk about that. I like that they were able to splice that in. I like that they were able to give you the NXT replay and have Hannafin talk over it. Good stuff. And it doesn't sound like it was like randomly added. It's good. I don't like, when we fast forward to the main event, the Nemeth interruption. I don't like the way it was shot. I don't like the way it was presented. And again, they are victims of having a taped show. And so they have to work with what they have. But there has to be, if this TNA ownership, if this group wants to take things seriously, professionally, whatever, send a camera, send somebody, do something to make sure that you have your ducks in a row and that it's not Nick sitting in a very blurry video on his iPhone trying to, tell people that he's okay. You didn't need that. So again, the dichotomy of having a tape show versus live. That was like the one thing that really took me out of the night, was just the way that they had to splice in some things that didn't really either need to be spliced in or were just poor quality additions.
Yeah, the Nemeth thing, the way that it cut in wasn't, I don't want to say that it was believable via satellite. You know what I mean? Like, there was no way that was a call. And then also it was like, it was just very jarring because of the hard cut. Outside of that, maybe I'd be too dumb. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. I don't got no complaints. I'm sorry, Joe Pearl.
No, don't worry. We'll find something too.
We'll find something to complain about.
Opening match, no quarter catch crew, team of Charlie Dempsey, Tavion Heights, and Myles Borne. They defeat the Rascals. Now, it's not the Rascals with Wesley. It's Rascals as in Trey, Miguel, Zachary, Wentz, and Kushida. Now, before anyone who doesn't know asks, once again, when you have a pre-tape show and you haven't done the reveal, you're kind of stuck. So Rascals are teaming with Kushida in this one. But I give TNA full marks for this, Cresta. We sat here a few weeks back and we talked about the partnership with TNA and NXT. And when everyone was asking, where are the Rascals? When are we doing the Rascals reunion? I said, you gotta babyface the Rascals first. Because if you don't do that, then you don't have a story. Because Wes Lee is a very popular babyface character in NXT. And the Rascals were the heeliest of heel assholes who were cheating to win at every turn in TNA. You had to find a way to get that heat on them. I think bringing in No Quarter Catch Crew was the right answer and the right way to do it. They had him team up with Kushida, Wentz and Miguel. It was fine because, again, they're trying to move forward the Kushida and Gresham story. Jonathan Gresham comes out towards the end of the match and lures Kushida out of the match. And then it all kind of breaks down. No Quarter Catch Crew get the win when Trey Miguel's taken out of the match, and then Wentz gets hit with the Tavion Heights belly to belly, a Borne neck breaker, and then Dempsey hits the Dragon Suplex for the win. Again, solid match, good stuff. There was some storyline development, which I appreciated, and then we could talk about the post-show, but let's start with the match. What did you think about all that?
I thought the match itself, if I'm being quite honest, was once again a showcase for Wentz and Dempsey. And no disrespect to everybody else still in that match, but it was really a Wentz and Dempsey showcase. And I wasn't mad about that. I do like what you said about having No Quarter Catch Crew. That's a mouthful, that name. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a mouthful.
NQCC, if you want to get nope, not much better.
CQC, baby. I don't know. We gonna work on that. It took a while to get Shield. That's all I'm saying. It took a while. They're working on it. But it was a good match overall. The double back elbow from Kushida onto I think it was Tavion and Dempsey. Okay, I do have something to complain about. I don't know why Kushida got tricked by Mr. Gresham, Octopus Man. To me, that doesn't make any sense, but it does if you think about the bigger picture, turning the Rascals babyface. Not mad at it per se, but it kind of makes Kushida look silly. If anything, like, you're so focused on Gresham, who's here every week, rather than these guys and the other guys who's here every week, who you said you would have their back. You know what I mean? Overall, the match itself was good though. I like No Quarter Catch Crew. They are somebody that if I had time to watch wrestling on Tuesdays, I would absolutely watch them on Tuesdays.
The Kushida and Gresham stuff makes sense because Kushida's been obsessed with trying to figure out what became of Jonathan Gresham and what the ink has done to him and all that. So like it made sense because he's been obsessing over that. They did the triple threat. It was Kushida, Gresham, and Speedball not too long ago. That was last week actually. And again, the story was Gresham and Kushida still going at it while Speedball eventually gets the win. So like it made sense. Casual Gresham was hilarious, coming out in his gym wear and his mask.
And this, bro, like, do you sleep with that on?
Listen, someone who had an interview and is the Knockouts champion can ask that question and answer it.
Bro, we came out in the gym clothes, like the regular clothes, and then the face paint on the bottom and the mask. I'm like, yo, you don't even have a match today. You're a clown for that. You're a clown for that. You're a clown for that.
I love that they called this trio the Time Smokers at one point. I thought that was really cute.
Light him if you got him.
little fun things that worked for me. But overall, the match was solid. Like I said, the best thing that they could have done to babyface the Rascals was to have No Quarter Catch Crew join. And by the way, it's now official. It's Slammiversary. Rascals versus No Quarter Catch Crew. So it's going to be Des Wentz and Miguel taking on Heights, Dempsey, and
it's
Borne.
not Des, it's Wes.
Contractually, it could be whatever the hell they want it to be.
They were beefing about it in the treehouse.
And that's what we're going to talk about next. The treehouse is back. Des is Wes, even though Trey refuses to call him that. It's very funny stuff. This is the interesting thing about where this partnership is and what the expectations are upon it. They want to do the smoke. Wentz and Miguel both want to do the smoking gimmick. And Wes is like, no, can't do it. And you know why it is. It's the WWE-ified version of himself. Like, he can't do it. And then, of course, they make allusion to it after they say, maybe we'll do the match at Slammiversary. And, like, they do the camera thing, and that's it. So it was fun, but I was like, oh, man, they really did have to WWE-ify the Wesley character on TNA. And other than that, it's just the treehouse is back. And that part is heartwarming as hell. This whole reunion has been so fun to see as someone who covers TNA. What do you think of that treehouse stuff and just the feeling of like being someone who covers TNA and talking about this stuff talking about the bigger, company?
I'm not going to hold you. Seeing the Rascals back together, especially in a TNA setting and not just in a WWE setting, is really nice. It's super heartwarming. Now, I don't understand why he couldn't do the stoner gimmick when we literally just had Matthew Riddell doing the stoner gimmick. You literally had RVD doing it. You could do a little ha he make a joke when he comes back to NXT, like, yo, has this person been tested? I don't trust them. They were hanging out in that tree house I think there's ways to do it. However, I'm not mad at the way we did get it, because at the end they cut to and you hear the lighter click and they're like, yo, I thought the camera was cut. And I'm like, okay, that's funny. All right, I get you. But I also understand what you mean. If you're used to the old aesthetic where it's like 2 seconds in, it's all gassy and you're like, whoa, I can understand.
Yeah, the nostalgia was lost, but you get it. You know why it's happening that way. You know what they're doing. But I think people are just kind of happy to see that Wes is doing TNA stuff, and that, sorry, not Wentz, that Des is doing, or Wesley is doing NXT stuff. Oh my God. Basically,
you're confusing yourself.
Yeah, I'm confusing myself. Wesley is doing TNA stuff, and Wentz is doing NXT stuff, because of course he did have a time in NXT, and his release was one that had a lot of people, had a lot of people talking. And again, the stance very much softened on Wentz when he went back to TNA and everything was kind of figured out. Yeah, I'm doing laps around myself because I'm still packing in my head. My bag is there and it's almost done, but it's not 100%. My train's
like TNA, Montreal, bus, another bus, post-show, bus.
There's no bus. My train is early in the morning, but I have to be up at 6 a.m. I'm not flying this time. I decided I'll take the comfy routes. Well, the flights are comfy. Anyway, sorry, Brookside defeats Alisha Edwards. Also added to the countdown to Slammiversary show is a very interesting fatal four-way. Zaya Brookside, Tasha Steeles, Giselle Shaw, and Fabia Paci from AAA. I was really happy to see that addition to the show. And also, I was a little surprised. They're not doing. There's no Queen of the Mountain match. There's no Ultimate X match, which I don't think they needed to add. But I thought maybe we would do something because it's Slammiversary. Instead, they're just doing a straight up 4-way match with all these women. Nice to see some AAA encouragement and inclusion. She defeats Zaya Brookside. Zaya Brookside defeats Alisha Edwards. I can speak. I promise I can do this show. Match is fine. I don't have much to add. Spitfire stops Masha Slamovich from getting involved, and Brooksy Bomb gets the win for Zaya Brookside. Go ahead.
I will say Alisha's gear looked really nice. Alisha, to me, did a fantastic job this match. Maybe these two just have really good chemistry, but I thought Alisha was out here. She was in the kitchen tonight. She was trying to cook something, and I was here for it. Alisha really did good. I'm not saying that Zaya did not. Zaya always does good, but I think a lot of people give Alisha flack, and she looked amazing tonight in the ring. I mean, I'm not mad at it, but like, damn, pinning your tag champion. I mean, not for nothing. Zaya Brookside could take a loss, but I get it. And now she's going to be in a tag team. I smell Franken team on the horizon.
They're going to do a Franken team, and it looks like Spitfire is potentially en route to recapturing the Knockouts tag titles. They, Lars Fredrickson did a thing where he said, "I'm done with y'all. You know, you can do it. I did what I needed to do, and I am off." So it looks like that. It looks like Spitfire is going to find their way back to the Knockouts titles.
I'm not mad at it.
It's fine. Speedball Mike Bailey, I was not mad at this. He comes out and he demands a match with Mustafa Ali tonight, and then Ali says from the screen, "If you can beat my upgraded security and campaign Sing, you can have the match tonight." So the Secret Service gauntlet is on. Speedball beats them all. So many sunglasses, Cresta. So many sunglasses. And then campaign Sing gets his big heat promo. Thank you for that. I don't have mine next to me. They're in my bag. Anyway, Ultimate Weapon gets the win for Speedball. And then Ali comes out dressed up as a Secret Service guy wearing a mask, and then uses a nightstick and forces the referee to count a pin. After the match, Ali's like, "Hey, I beat him. Match is off. Not doing it at Slammiversary." And then, of course, in comes Santana Marella because he has to. And he says, "No, the match is still happening. And if you no-show, I'm stripping you of the title and I'm firing you. And I hope that Speedball kicks your ass." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, a little bias here. Sure, whatever." And then Ali says, "Well, what happens to Speedball will be on your hands." This was really good stuff. I've enjoyed this build. I liked what they did tonight. I like that Speedball showed fire and just came out and did the thing. What did you think about all this?
My first note is, what in the Danielson storyline is this? Because of the gauntlet, where you got to be all those people, and then you can maybe fight Triple H for the title. Or whatever it was. I wasn't watching it. That was my reference. That popped me. I don't care if it didn't pop anyone else. That popped me. It was fine. I mean, like, I literally went to the kitchen, got something to drink, came back, and Ali was out there. I was like, well.
That's the way it goes.
I'm sure it'll be a slobber knocker. I'm sure Ali is going to cheat old boy out his boots.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it'll be a lot of fun. There is a spot in the campaign Sing Speedball match that I want to highlight, and I thought this was great. Sing goes for the sharpshooter, and as he's teasing the sharpshooter, Speedball counters it into a small package. I thought that was both excellent, and I think we might see that again on Saturday.
It's the most devastating move in sports entertainment.
Less the small package, more just they've been doing the sharpshooter stuff. It's Montreal, you know, everyone wants to do a screw job type of gimmick. This is the match that's going to lean into it the most. Although maybe AJ Francis we'll see. But regardless, I think that they're trying to really, because they've been using the sharpshooter a lot, and it feels like they're trying to do something with it. So I like that it was part of this match, but it was done in a way where Speedball had a counter.
Yeah,
something like that. I do appreciate that there was good storytelling in a match that was otherwise beating up Secret Service guys.
And I'm not mad at that. For the record, let me go ahead and say nothing's wrong with just pressing A and beating up all the putties. Nothing's wrong with that.
That's my favorite part of all the games that I play.
It's a favorite.
Yeah. My biggest gripe with the Nintendo Switch is if you're playing the original Nintendo games on it, A and B on the original Nintendo was like it was like it would basically be mapped out like A and B. Sorry, like A and B, right? Well, it doesn't work like that on the Switch. But I then found out apparently X and A is right for like the gamer in you that wants to hold B and press A to jump and like not have to feel weird. It's a button mapping thing.
It's I think it is very important, the nerdy gamer in me, that when you're playing with controllers, you have a strong ergonomic style, but also what you learned on is what you're going to be the most comfortable with. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have a SNES controller USB and also have a NES controller USB because I have no time.
Hold on. Vamp for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys had a good time. And if you're having a great time, this is the perfect time to give us a thumbs up on this video. We can't wait to talk to you more about TNA while Joe Pearl digs through his garbage to find his GameCube controller.
USB GameCube controller.
I live.
Because I decided I wanted to start playing. This was years ago, Mario Sunshine, probably during the pandemic.
Okay,
so
makes sense.
I bought this stupid thing just for the one game. And talking about childhood, a USB N64 controller.
Man, those controllers used to Shrek my thumb trying to play Super Smash Brothers or Mario Party.
You know what the worst part is? I can't put a rumble pack in this thing because it's a USB 3D printed special.
So why'd you put that there? You could have left that blank. Don't play with my emotions.
It's a great controller though.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling and gaming, Fightful selects.
Hey man, I started on this platform as a gaming guy. They gave me a Twitch channel called Fightful Gaming. It still exists. We still stream there, but less video games these days. Anyway.
Well, get into it.
Tag team championships are on the line. The system, they kind of beat the Hardy Boys. It's a DQ when Dango interferes. I'm sorry, they call him JDC now. This was fine. They're going to go back to it. They're a victim of circumstance in that Jeff Hardy will not be in Montreal for Slammiversary. In fact, they just announced officially it's going to be Matt Hardy versus JDC at Slammiversary. So some of these matches are kind of coming in at the last minute, but they're ones that we kind of assumed were happening over the last couple of weeks. So they made it official. That happens at Slammiversary, Matt Hardy, JDC. And it happens because JDC comes out, he takes out Jeff Hardy, and they have to stretcher him out. And then Rebby's in the back, and she's been laid out, and she says it was JDC. She insists it was him. Part of me was like, they're really going to have the wife join with JDC in the system afterwards because she's faking it. It felt weird. It just felt, her being like, it was JDC. The finger pointing was a little too on the nose for me. Regardless, the tag team match itself was good. Like, they did the back and forth stuff. There was a lot of talk about the system dominance and how they've had the titles, since Hard to Kill or around that time. And since then, it's been all about the system build. And I talked about this with Jeremy Lambert. The system build has been the main TNA focal point since the rebrand. And I think that's been good because, again, you and I have said it's good to have a heel faction that everybody hates collectively and doesn't just have like, I like this one, but I don't like this. No, everyone collectively doesn't like them. And then you got the Hardys. Hardys are the Hardys.
And you got the Hard. That's crazy.
This is the thing. It's like, we know what this is. And it's fine. It's a nostalgia run, and it's probably not going to be long. And Matt and Jeff, it feels like testing the waters to go back to do something else somewhere else. Maybe with a company that they're currently doing a partnership with, but like the main roster of it. I don't know.
I don't know either. I will tell you what I liked before I get into my speculation and my thoughts. I like they came out to Jeff's music. Jeff's music will always be a banger to me. That's
the Hardy's 99 me. That's the Hardy's WWF theme.
I love it. I don't care. They can play it a million times.
Their theme.
I have to find my notes because it's a hot mess. The Jawbreaker was nice. Eddie Edwards slapping Matt Hardy in the stomach like that. That's I don't want to say it's a senior citizen, but like, geez, why you slap that man like that? That was unnecessary. He slapped the head. Like he Ric Flair chest chopped that man's whole stomach. That was rude as hell. I don't know, man. These are my feelings. I don't know, man. I hate the system. They're good heels. But why y'all had to do my man Jeff like that? JDC being, bro, it was a murder scene. He was out there on serial killer time tonight. He was on Chris Jericho killing everyone a part of that one crew. Like, bro, like, what's wrong with you? Not mad at it. But I feel like at this point, you put your hands on this man's wife. You took out his brother. Who he took out last week? Didn't he take out Matt the first time?
I'm going to be honest, I can't remember, but let's just go with it.
That's fine. Let's say yes for the sake of argument. At this
Well,
point,
JDC took out. No, that was Kazarian. Go ahead.
at the end of the day, this has to end one of two ways because JDC is ramping it up and he either needs to become like a psycho violent or Matt Hardy needs to go in that lake of reincarnation and wake JDC up. I don't know. Because at this point, like JDC just needs to be a jerk. I think he just needs to beat up Matt Hardy. And I don't want that. But I think in order for the character and the story eventually have it run back, he needs to beat up Matt. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like JDC is being a jerk.
He is, and it's great.
It's good. No, it's good stuff, but it's like, damn. Well, I know my scale is Randy Orton and Moose. And he's like, at this point, are you becoming Moose? Or you already put your hands on a woman, so you Randy Orton. Are you gonna burn someone's house down like Randy Orton and Moose? Like, what are we doing here? I'm with it, but I want it. You know what I mean?
Well, this is what you're supposed to want from any member of the system. You want someone that you're going to boo completely anytime, anywhere. JDC, Dango is one of those guys. We enjoyed his presentation before he left because it was stupid meta BS and like we laughed at it. But that's gone. And the new presentation is so much better and you want to hate him. And I like that. He's just trying to ingratiate himself with the system. Ever since he's gotten back, he's trying to prove himself to Moose. He beat up ABC. He's gone after Santana. Santana came out after this match, beats up JDC. They were supposed to have a match, and then Santana, who's already like bleeding through his bandage.
That was gnarly, bro.
That was very disturbing. And they do a thing where JDC ends up, he's bleeding at the end of this. It's a blood feud. And this is going to play into my comments later when we talk about the Slammiversary contract signing. But Santana going after JDC is for a good reason. This is the last thing I'm going to add about the presentation. Dear TNA production crew, I like what you're trying to do. You're trying to do the WWE in-ring introductions for your title matches. I get it. You need to get a better camera for it. And I'm not suggesting the 8K with the bokeh. I'm not. But you need a better white balance camera and you just need a better look for it. Because otherwise it looks like you're doing low rate WWE where you're focusing your camera guys in the ring, focusing on Jade and then doing the challenger and then doing the champions. I get what you're doing and it's different and it works, but don't get too cute. Other than that, it's a good idea.
What he said, I support Joel's rights and Joel's wrong. So what he said,
I'm never wrong. It's okay.
Period.
Hannafin is with Jordan Grace. This is a little something to get you ready for her Knockouts Championship match at Slammiversary. Really, the big takeaway for me was, while it was a solid showcase segment, they made reference to the fact that Jordan Grace has had the second most title defenses in a single title reign. That's a lot of words to say. She's tied with Deonna Purrazzo, and the only person ahead of her is Taya Valkyrie. I feel like they're going to try to break that record. And they also talked a lot about the NXT and WWE appearances. Obviously, the Rumble is where it started. And then they talk about Ash by Elegance and like her appearance at Battleground. And this is the only important line you need. At one point, Jordan Grace calls the personal concierge, also known as George Iceman, a personal ringside cuck.
There's a joke in there about sometimes I like to watch From the Closet dressed as Superman. If you get the reference, you get the reference.
That was what made that segment entirely worthwhile.
I mean, I liked it in the sense of, if you think about, they're talking about besides everything else, just this run of Jordan Grace's title run has been this action-packed. And what is this, like, she beat Naomi at the beginning of the year, so maybe 6-7 months, and this is someone who I have been heralding, put the heavyweight championship on her, make her champ. If this is someone you want to have beat Taya's record, which honestly, that's a very impressive record in and of itself to be tied with Deonna, why not? If I am TNA, I am doing everything I can to keep Grace and Joe Hendry, because Papa Fed is like, yeah, they doing the Birdman. I'm doing anything she wants. You want me to do jumping jacks? I'm back there like 1, 2. If she want to be champ, you want to hold trio champions, we do it just for you. But if I'm TNA, if I'm TNA, yes, you did all of this stuff while you were with TNA. Please remember this.
I'm a little annoyed that they brought up what Ash did to Jessica Havoc, because ain't nobody remember that, because they never capitalized on it.
They're trying to make her look. Okay, Joel, let me ask you something. Let me ask you a fair and honest question.
Sure.
Do you think Ash by Elegance is going to pin Jordynne Grace?
No, because I've mentioned this on multiple shows. What I would like to see and what I could see is she gets squashed in a minute. Jordynne Grace grabs the mic and says, no. This was exactly what I knew it would be. Give me someone legit. And out comes Natalya. Because nobody knew what Natty's contract status was. And she had been doing stuff with NXT for the last few months leading up to her expiration on the contract. And now that she is officially re-signed, or at least it's out there and it's known, it would have been really cool if we hadn't found out and Natty showed up at TNA. I would like to see that. I have made that call for a while now. There's no reason to have a competitive matchup with Ash because they only had her beat down one person one time. And for anyone telling me there's not a snowball chance, you might.
This is pro wrestling, baby. I've seen stranger things happen. I've seen stranger things.
You might eat your word. Now, with all this in mind, Natty is also the only person who can easily show up literally anywhere and be and it's okay. People will, because she has flown that WWE flag for her entire career, her entire life. So they let her get away. And with Ash, someone mentioned in the chat, all she's done is beat enhancement talent and then a couple of little things here and there. Again, going back to the Havoc thing, I don't like it because it's the only time where she's shown any mean streak and they never went back to it. She did the little thing with Xia Brookside. And like I said, when they announced the match, they knew she was going to Australia. They knew she was going to be away for the final set of tapings before the pay-per-view. And they still went with this match. And I'm really hoping that they do something to what I've been talking about, where they have her get squashed, because she hasn't been a serious competitor. There's no reason that Ash by Elegance should be getting a title shot other than the I got under your skin, so I got you title shot. And I don't like that in my wrestling most of the time. So that's why I'm really hoping that they do something where it's a squash and they say, give me something better. And again, Jordynne has been the only person who continues to go after every single NXT talent you can think of. This is one more. This is the, I couldn't call it the final boss, but it's someone who'd be a high stock raiser. And they've wanted this match. Both Grace and Natty have publicly talked about it.
Not mad at it. I do like that reasoning and explanation. But the point I was trying to get to is that you still got to sell the illusion that she could do something. She could win. Stranger things have happened before in professional wrestling. Yeah, it could be a DQ. And they're trying to, in my opinion, they're trying to reference that, you know, Ash does have this mean streak. She did beat up Havoc, who was somebody who was like your enforcer. So I get what they're trying to do, but I agree with you 100%. It's like, there's no way, like, just the build up to it, unless it's super cheating time or you're getting squashed and somebody else is coming back, like Rosemary stalking you. I would love to see Natalya, even if it's, I don't know, somebody else. You know what I mean? If it's a competitive match, fiddle me timbers. I won't be mad at it. I would let her cook. I would let her cook. But if you're gonna cook, you're going to have to cook. And I think she would have a lot to prove if she's playing from behind. And I think it does her no favors by trying to make a competitive match that people aren't even remotely believed in. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
And I was going to say, I think it does her better for right now in her character. She to win if she is, or go, sis, you got to take that Grace drive, you take that Juggernaut bomb, girl. Ooh.
I think that they haven't done a lick of build for Ash. Going into this match, they had her watch.
Hold on. Shit, fuck.
This is the best part of my night. What I was trying to say was they've had her watch stuff happen.
I don't know, dude.
That was amazing.
I am so sorry. My cats have been fighting all day, like fighting like alley cats, and it's really about to be blood and guts in my house.
Have you
I have to
considered,
break them up early and I can't. I'm so sorry.
have you considered putting them in separate cages?
We did, and they were fine. And now it's just like, yo, Bully Ray's back. She's running it back. I'm so sorry.
And that's why people watch the show. Anyway, the point I was trying to make was the idea that Ash has not been factored into anything. She did the beachside video, which looked awful last week, and they didn't have her at all involved in the show tonight. So I don't think that this should be a match that lasts long, and they shouldn't be giving her anything out of it because she hasn't factored in. She's been nowhere. It's been useless.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because it's like I was hopeful and I want her to do well. I don't like to put out that, well, this person, I'm not going to pay attention to them, because I always believe in professional wrestling, you're one gimmick or one storyline away from being the greatest of all time, period. But it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a storyline or whatever it is. I'm like, girl, I'm not interested. And it's sad. It's sad. I want to be, but it's like, if Grace doesn't win, I'm low-key going to be like, wait. Like, cheating has to happen. Like, cheating.
And I don't want cheating because there's no reason to
There's no reason to cheat. I mean, if I'm Ash by Elegance, there's every reason to cheat. That's Jordan Grace. I gotta hit it with a tranquilizer or something. That's Jordan Grace. And even then, I don't think they'll take her out.
It just doesn't look good. So I would just leave it out. TNA World Title contract signing happens. Moose Alexander, Steve McLean, as he's now known. It's going to be fun talking to him about that one. Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian are there. And they
I have a soundboard for that now, Joel.
Yeah, is it this one?
That's crazy. It's actually... Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Not the Nicki Minaj one.
Couldn't even hear it, and it still was a failure.
I don't believe in anything right now. I got cats fighting at the wrong soundboard. Cresta's fired, bro. When Sean comes to, he's like, yo, Cresta, sending you 2 weeks right now.
Okay. I just saw Effie. He tweeted out, "Thank you. I now own Fightful, but I'm giving it back to Sean because I don't have any additional time for wrestling content." To which I just replied, "Wait, can you give me a raise first?"
Wait a minute.
Wait. Don't do it yet. Don't do it.
Do times two.
I need a thing. Hold on.
Hold on, before you give it back. Hold on, I almost choked for this.
So Nic Nemeth he comes on the screen, and again, what I really just didn't understand was why they had him shoot this thing on his iPhone, and that it just whatever quality check this was supposed to pass, it didn't. And that just really frustrates me. And he says he's got a partially torn labrum, but he's still going to be cleared for Slammiversary. Why did they play that? And why was it allowed? And why did they think that this was going to be important to the segment? Why didn't Santino say it? If they knew that he was going to be cleared and still part of the match, why was it? Why? Because they wanted to add a little sympathy for Nic Nemeth? It didn't work for me. It didn't make sense that you added it. If Nemeth had been in a nice room and it was like if it was shot well, I probably would have been okay with it. But instead,
he was in a hospital room or something.
Sure, whatever it is. If it was shot on a proper camera, I would have been fine with it. But instead, it was what it was, and it was nonsensical. It felt like an extra added piece just to get all the guys in the match involved in this segment. Someone mentions a Twitter exclusive. There have been plenty of those tonight. TNA does a good job of using their socials for that stuff. Could have done that too. I agree.
I would have rather Joe Hendry do a music video on everybody in there, like a group, like a "Tell Me Why You Guys All Suck," not Joe Hendry. I would have taken that.
The only thing is, they're starting to make Joe Hendry a serious competitor.
You can do both.
You can. I think for the world title, you gotta go leave the laughy laughs at home for a bit.
I seen The Rock sit in an arena.
Yeah, the Rock didn't get his first world title. Leave it there.
That's fair. That's also fair.
AJ
Listen,
Francis and Rich Swann, they show up and they say that they're actually the main event of Slammiversary because AJ Francis is going to take on PCO. We're going to run down the card after we talk about the show. Yeah, then AJ Francis says, yeah, I like the other guys in the ring, but Joe Hendry, you suck. Santino tells Francis to leave. Francis says no. He threatens Santino. PCO appears from under the ring. He takes out First Class. It's a breakdown. Hendry puts Moose through a table. So Joe Hendry will not be winning the title on
I
Saturday.
thought the same thing.
Moose is going to pin Joe Hendry. It's going to be the final two. Mike Santana is going to win the world title at Bound for Glory.
Tell me why.
Joe Hendry will go into NXT and have a great match against Ethan Page for the NXT championship at one of the Tuesday night sci-fi shows.
Remember when I said, if I am TNA, I'm doing everything I can to keep one Joseph Hendry, Hendry happy?
Hendry's happy. I think a lot of people put stock in the idea of giving titles as the way to make wrestlers happy. A lot of wrestlers are not those types. Someone
I am, unless I'm not a wrestler.
Well, someone said this about Speedball the other day, and I was like, I can guarantee you that a title is not the thing that makes someone like Speedball happy. That's not what keeps someone around. Everyone's different, and that's the thing. We talk about it whenever there's a free agency or contract coming up. We don't know any aspirations. We don't know what people look for. But I can tell you, for some certain wrestlers and some certain, they don't think that a title is the reason to stick around. Hendry's getting a lot of attention. He knows what he's capitalizing on, and he's doing a great job with it. Could TNA call an audible and have him win the title? Because between when they taped in Philly and Saturday, 100%, because it's been a few weeks at this point. I don't know what to expect, but I feel like Santana is the guy that they're really building to.
And this is also going back to when we talked about there's so many players. They're top heavy. Because I'm thinking there's Nemeth, there's Maclin, of course there's Alexander, Santana, there's Matt Hardy, there's Hendry. And that's just people I can think of, not even digging deep in my bag. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that there's so much diversity. And eventually, now I'm not saying this will happen. And I think AJ Francis is a great heel, but AJ Francis is someone who would worm their way into the world title scene, and it'd be totally acceptable. You know what I mean? In the confines of his character and what they've been doing with First Class, totally acceptable. But again, I do think that speaks to the testament of talent that's in the top end for the heavyweight title. So no matter who, whether Joe Hendry, that's his motivation or not, I'm ascribing my aspirations to him. And I don't know that man from a can of paint. I'm making it up in my brain. You know what I mean? So it's like, I hope that it's a good match no matter what, but they're top heavy. So no matter who it is, whether it's Santana or Nemeth or Hardy or returning somebody, you know what I mean? It's going to be good, but that's just how good the roster is regardless.
And regardless of how you feel about TNA, you can always subscribe to Fightful Select, the best $5 in the business. We're going to run down TNA Slammiversary in a minute. Charlotte Renegades backstage at AEW. We reported that over on FightfulSelect.com. Sammy Guevara is in the news. He might be returning to AEW soon. Guess what? FightfulSelect.com had the scoop. You want an In the Weeds Q&A? Guess what? Jeremy and we did one on Wednesday. That dropped as well over on FightfulSelect.com. All the scoops, all the content, all the best stuff. We got it. We do it. And there's going to be more over Slammiversary weekend. I'm telling you. Let's talk about this card. A bunch of matches have been dropped literally while we've been on the air. We've mentioned the 4-way knockouts match. This is all the countdown stuff. Stills, Apache, Shaw, and Brookside. Who do you think is walking out of that 4-way?
Shaw's got incredible momentum. If not Shaw, then Steels, because I think they might want to try to build her up again, but I could see Shaw taking that.
I think it's between Shaw and Brookside, and I think Giselle Shaw is going to get the win, and she'll probably pin Fabi Apache.
I was thinking that too, or Steels.
Luchadors in TNA. What happens? Although we've been proven wrong before. Kushida versus Jonathan Gresham has been added to the countdown as well, so we're running that back. We had this conversation once upon a time. Gresham winning to have a big undefeated streak to eventually challenge to the X Division Championship with Speedball's the champion. We're back on this track again, I guess.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because my heart says I'm a fan of Jonathan Gresham, but I haven't connected with this character quite as yet. So I want Kushida, but it's gonna be a good match. I don't know who wins. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know who wins.
I've got Gresham. That's who I think is going to win this match.
You think Kushida's gonna become a little squid man?
I mean, I could see it. Have you seen the sides of his hair? And it's like 4 and 4, like a squid.
Time squitters.
No, that's stop it. Stop it. What are we doing?
Grow up, Cresta. I'm sorry. It was funny. I don't care. Time squitters is funny.
Knockouts tag titles are on the line. Alisha, aka the militia. They call it the militia. They're Alisha to me. They're taking on a team of Spitfire. I think Spitfire is going to recapture the Knockouts tag titles. How about you?
I think so too. I think it's long time, and they got rid of Lars, or Lars went to go be, as someone said earlier, a bastard. I'm assuming that's the thing he came from, or I don't know. I don't know anything about Mr. Lars. Apologies to that man.
He's got to hang out with his best friend CM Punk.
Oh, period. Come on, look in my eyes. What do you see? I don't know. Let's go Spitfire. I think the time he's gonna.
Sorry.
What?
Said, look in my eyes. What do you see? Not appearing at Slammiversary.
That's good. That's good. 10 points to Gryffindor. Yeah, let's go with Spitfire. Let's go Spitfire.
Mike Santana versus Jake Something was added to the card. Like I said, feels like they're building Santana for something bigger, and Jake Something is a very big opponent to have to overcome. And then there's the Diener thing going on too. We're still not done with that.
We the fans win, but Mike Santana is gonna pin Jake Something, which is a little bit unfortunate because I'm a fan of Jake Something, but they've been cooling on him as of late. So, and that's somebody else.
Something with them?
What?
You trying to say they need to do something with them?
That's fair. That's fair.
Matt Hardy versus JDC. I can see JDC getting the win here.
Me too. I think JDC's going to beat up this man. I don't like that, but I think he's going to beat up this man.
We're going to get to the meat of this in a few minutes. Rascals versus No Quarter Catch Crew. That's been made official. Looking forward to that one. Rascals beat Gallus on NXT. I can see them beating No Quarter Catch Crew.
Same. I think the Rascals go over, and I think this way afterwards, Wes has something to do on NXT, and the Rascals go by being bastards.
Well, they mentioned on NXT when it's Wentz and Wes, they will be MSK like they were when it was Nash Carter, and that's who Wentz was. And then Trey is just the odd man out. When Trey comes in, it's going to be the Rascals. I see this continuing on, and I can see them getting the win over No Quarter Catch Crew. They've got other things to do on NXT when it comes to the British, the Heritage Cup. So them eating the pin, Tavion Heights, who's going to be not leaving NXT, but going to Japan shortly. He can eat the pin, or Myles Borne can eat the pin, and then we move on. Easy peasy. So I can see Rascals getting the win. World Tag Team titles on the line. That's been officially announced. System are going to take on ABC, the Ace of Bays. I think Ace of Bays are going to recapture those tag titles finally.
I am torn between ABC winning because I'm a fan, and ABC losing, and Ace finally turning on Bay.
Okay. I can see it. I could see if the System retains, the next night at the tapings, they do the turn.
Yeah, if they don't do it that night, they could do it. Yeah, I could see either or. I would like to see ABC Aces of Bay recapture it. But I think we've done the slow trickle burn, and everyone has their beef, and Motor City Machine Guns were very good for that. They'll fight and then they'll come back together. I don't know what's about to transpire, but I would like them to win. But if they don't, I think Ace Austin should turn on Chris Bay.
I'm going to say Ace of Bays wins, and that's, again, going to play off in what we get into later. Two titles are on the line: Digital Media Championship and the International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. It's going to be AJ Francis and PCO. I don't want PCO to win the Digital Media Championship. But also, if AJ Francis is going to come in and run down all 6 competitors in the main event, maybe they're going to move them up out of that. Yeah,
like this was strange. It makes sense for the character, but it's like, what are you doing then? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? I don't want either one of you guys to have both of those championships. Let's put it like that.
PCO winning the International Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, like that.
Okay, that's fine.
It's symbolic. It makes sense. The Montreal stuff, it makes sense. The Digital Media Championship stuff, man, AJ Francis has been really good with that stuff. And he continues to build on that. I would like to see that continue.
No, that's not a bad shout. I don't mind it. He can keep healing it up. It's been a while since we've had a heel Digital Media. Has it? Or am I bugging?
No, because Joe Hendry had it for a while. And then before that, it was Brian Myers. Was it Myers?
I feel like, because before Myers, wasn't it Cardona?
Something like that. God, now I'm done. The both titles on the line thing was really, I wouldn't be surprised if they do AJ Francis wins and then he just throws the International Heavyweight Championship on PCO and says, I don't want this trash. Oh yeah,
I can see him doing that.
Kenny King.
I could see him doing some jerk shit jerk stuff like that. Sorry.
Kenny King was also there. Remember that whole thing with Impact 1000 and Tommy Dreamer and the title? I was there for that.
I'm gonna tell you guys, I'd be in the treehouse too much. I forgot about that.
I get it, but yeah, I could see it being AJ Francis, wins the match and then gives that old ratty title. PCO gets that extra Montreal heat on top of himself.
That's exactly how he would say it too. That's exactly how he would say, "Get this rinky dink."
Bought it for $200. It's all yours. It's your trash now. Or they'll do a title change at the pay-per-view and then win it back Montreal the next night on tapings.
Okay, work. I can see that too.
X Division Championship match: Mustafa Ali against Mike Bailey, Mr. Speedball himself. This is the one match where I really want to see Speedball get the win. But how much more can you do with Mustafa Ali? You can do more, but other than having him cash in option C, what else is there for him?
Playing from behind like a crappy politician. This is a rigged match. I want a recount. I want to re-wrestle cages. Nobody's allowed. I want all the security because it's not fair. He don't have any shoes on. His feet were slippery. I couldn't even do it. I could see that. I think if you're going to do it, Montreal is the place. The boos that Ali is gonna get regardless, I think just go with the popular decision right here. However, I could see you also. I'm Ali, and I'm here to cheat.
It's like I said, Ali retaining and keeping that title until November. Yeah, that would do some stuff.
Oh, yeah, during the oh, please.
Yeah. I know tonight is the worst night to talk about that, but I could see it. He should show up with tape on his ear. Anyway, Knockouts World title on the line.
Listen, if I don't laugh, it hurts. He can make that joke. He's Canadian.
I'm Canadian. It's fine. They wrote a whole song about it. TNA Knockouts World Championship. Jordan Grace defends against Ash by elegance. Yeah, I already told you I think Jordan Grace is going to retain, and then we're going to have another match out of this. I have nothing else to add. How about you?
I think Rosemary is going to eat George Iceman and spit him out. And this is the day she's going to spit him out.
Man, bones or shivs? What are we going to have?
Bone Storm.
Buy me Bone Storm or go to hell.
Bone Storm or death. That's going to be Iceman.
Yeah, personal ringside cuck. That's
Listen, sometimes I like to watch, man.
He's gonna watch his own demise. Yeah, I think Jordan's just gonna retain the TNA World Championship 6-way elimination match. There will be 6 men. There will be 5 pinfalls. There will be eliminations. It's going to be a long match, but I look forward to it. Josh Alexander, Frankie Kazarian, Nic Nemeth, Joe Hendry, Steve Maclin, and the TNA World Champion Moose. Cresta, I want your thoughts first.
Looking at the people in this match, there isn't anyone in particular that I'm like, this person has the upper hand. Alexander is always tried and true. Steve Maclin has put in his time and his work, and he's shown that he's really the one. Frankie Kazarian, not for nothing. Unc, sit down. You're not winning. Sorry, unless you cheat. Joe Hendry, to me, is a very obvious choice. So is Nic Nemeth. Moose retaining, honestly, out of this group right here makes the most sense. Because you're going to wait until Josh Alexander hits the C4 spike, Steve Maclin hits the KIA, Frankie Kazarian gonna go on a chicken wing on someone, or Joe Hendry's gonna go for the standing ovation, and you're gonna get the knick-knack, and you're gonna spear whoever is on the receiving end of that. And then you're gonna get the pin. Because the system works and you're a cheater. And JDC is not anywhere to be seen at this point. So, unfortunately, if I'm using my brain, my noodle, I'm saying Moose retains. In my hardest of hearts, I want Joe Hendry to win. In my hardest of hearts. But I think Moose retains unless you pull the trigger on Nemeth, and I don't know if they're going to do that.
It's so funny to me that this is a tale of two storylines. It is a story of if you're a WWE fan who's just watching TNA, or an NXT fan just watching TNA, you're seeing Joe Hendry and you're like, oh, he's got to be the guy. If you're a TNA fan and you're a Joe Hendry fan, you're thinking he's got to be the guy. They've really built him in the last week. You've seen the rise. He's been literally everywhere. You can pull the trigger and have that moment, and it's a big moment and people will love it. Or you can deny the moment and continue working with what you've been doing, and that is the build of Moose, who has been undefeated in singles competition for 2 years, is the TNA champion, and whoever wins that title needs to be made from him. Moose retaining makes the sense in the way I just went through this card. Everybody else in the system loses except Moose and JDC. And then Moose gets to say, JDC, you're the only winner here. Everyone else is a failure. You all lost your titles. You all did me dirty. Nobody's like, the system failed, but JDC didn't. So he brings him in, and you can start a riff, or you can start something of the next chapter of the system. I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. I don't, for anyone saying, AJ Styles or anything like that, I don't think AJ's coming in to work.
AJ Styles is never coming back, no matter how many seance circles and how many Styles clashes you do. He's not coming back. Pack it up.
AJ Styles is more likely going to be inducted to the TNA Hall of Fame. That is something that I can say comfortably. I don't expect a match from AJ. I get it. He just went to Japan. He did things, but like, the TNA crossover has been NXT. It has been NXT, not WWE.
Part of me wants to double down on that, but the other part of me is like, listen, when you first started watching wrestling, CM Punk said, I'm never going back to WWE. And every Monday, look in my eyes, what do I see? CM Punk on my TV. So, I mean, and from what I understand, and I don't think AJ is ever coming back, but, it's wrestling. Stranger things have happened. I thought Vince McMahon was going to run WWE till the day I died. And so, stranger things have happened.
The thing about that is CM Punk has nowhere else to go for the money he commands. So that's where that argument goes down. AJ Styles would have to do something incredibly stupid and get fired from his multi-year, very well-paid deal for him to consider TNA. And that's after AEW would inevitably scoop him up instead.
Oh, bro, all of his friends are like, friend.
Oh, you were in Bullet Club? So was I. Oh my God. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like if you do AJ, it's gonna be a big TNA Hall of Fame induction because he was TNA when this whole thing started. That being said, if Moose wins, man, we are on the Mike Santana train. We're on the train. Yeah, choo choo Boricua style. We're going. We're on our way. We're taking the 7. We're going. Okay.
It would be the 4, Joel, to the Bronx.
You're right. It'd be the 4 to the Bronx.
I had to let that sit for a minute. I was like, damn, you're not from here, so it's fine.
I forgot. Okay, fine. You're right. We're not going to Bayside. I forgot. My bad.
You don't even take the stuff in the Bayside.
No, you take it to Queens. Take it to Queens. My God.
Listen, I'm not going to listen. You don't know anything about American geography, just like I know nothing about Canada.
I know about American geography. What are you talking about? Damn it. It's late.
Don't take the 7 to Bayside. I'll tell you that.
I realized that. I meant to Queens. God damn it.
We love you, Joel Pearl. This is not a geography test.
I hate you all. I'm going to Montreal. I'll be at Slammiversary. If you're going to be there, say hi. If you're talented and you're listening and you want to do an interview, hit me up on the socials at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. We'll talk. Cresta Star, what you got going on?
Well, tomorrow, your girl's going to be on True Hill Heat. We're going to be talking about the preview to Slammiversary, which I honestly thought was tomorrow. That's because TNA used to do their pay-per-views on Friday. So yeah, I'm gonna be on True Hill Heat tomorrow, and then on Saturday I will be here with Joel, maybe Steven Jensen for sure. We're gonna be covering all things from Slammiversary. I will not be on the Collision post show, so Ricky better show up to work.
Solo Iridian show.
Iridian's gonna be like, it's me, guys. And besides that, you can catch me on my personal Cresta Star at twitch.tv or Cresta Star on TikTok. Every Wednesday, I go over AEW. We watch it together. We have a hootenanny, and sometimes Mondays and Fridays. If that was a lot, Twitter, X, or whatever it's calling itself, Cresta the Star, like Megan the Stallion. There's a link tree in my bio. Find all of the stuff there. Joel Pearl, where can they find you?
Jordan Grace just retweeted my, I'm sorry, did Jordan Grace call Iceman a personal ringside cuck? And her reply was, quote, I call it as I see it.
I mean,
she's right.
It is what it is. I mean, you like to watch.
Well, I don't. The Iceman likes it. Anyway. Like I said, I'll be in Montreal. I will hope to be on the post show on Saturday. We will be live here on youtube.com/Fightful. It'll be Cresta Star, Steven Jensen. Hopefully myself will be talking about the show. If there's big news, you know, Sean Ross Sapp will come and join us at the top. So be prepared for that. I go in the weeds with Jeremy Lambert every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're listening to us live or you're watching us Friday, I'm not going to be there, but SP3 will be filling in, the aforementioned SP3 from True Heel Heat. He always plays substitute teacher for In the Weeds when one of us can't make it. And Ben Bishop, not the hockey player, the wrestler, will be joining us, well, SP3 and Jeremy, live tomorrow on In the Weeds. That's from 10 a.m. Eastern until noon on our sister channel, Fightful Overbooked. Until then, for Cresta, I am Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, enjoy Slammiversary. We'll see you after the show. See you in the next one.